COVID-19 has now entered Hong Kong's supply chains, affecting the availability of essential products and food items. As more and more truck drivers are testing positive for the virus, the transport and delivery services have been halted. Here's a report.
Hong Kong announced stringent new coronavirus restrictions and record new infections on Tuesday. It comes as a shortage of vegetables is adding to the misery, with truck drivers testing positive for COVID-19, unable to bring them from mainland China. Supplies on Tuesday were around one-third of Monday's, the government said. The Asian financial hub reported a record 625 coronavirus cases on Tuesday, with cases likely to continue rising rapidly, authorities said. There were 2,600 infections over the past 2 weeks, compared with just 2 in December. Residents say they feel let down by the government.
The transport vehicles from the mainland can't enter, so the price of vegetables went up by a large amount. Bean sprouts now cost more than 5 times what they did before. Hong Kong people are having a hard time.
The government has a responsibility. Vegetables are so expensive now, while many people are out of work. So why aren't the government helping ordinary people?
Hong Kong's leader Carrie Lam said public gatherings would be limited to 2 people from 4 currently, and churches and hair salons would close from Thursday, adding to a slew of venues already closed. Lam also announced a ban on private gatherings of more than 2 families, though it was unclear how this would be enforced.
And for more on this, WION correspondent Richard Kimber is joining us live from Hong Kong. Richard, thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about the situation on ground currently?
Well, certainly there's concerns that just in a couple of hours the health authorities here will confirm there will be more than 1,000 COVID-19 cases here for the first time. It's never gone past 4 figures before. It's only been in the low hundreds, so things are still escalating. One health expert here saying if this trend continues, basically an almost doubling of cases every day, we could be looking at around 10,000 cases per day in around a month's time. That's largely because although many social distancing measures have been in place here for so long, there really haven't been at any point in the last 2 years a widespread outbreak of COVID-19 in Hong Kong, and that's making things more and more transmissible as so few people in the city have actually ever contracted the virus before.
Right. Now there are also, like you mentioned, stringent measures in place. How is the administration actually planning to deal with the acute food shortage and record surge in infections going forward?
Well, it's certainly becoming more and more complicated. As you mentioned, there's a lack of fresh vegetables coming in because truck drivers have contracted the virus, really exposing Hong Kong's supply chain. There's already been major problems with the air cargo freight industry because members of Cathay Pacific, Hong Kong's flagship airline, have also contracted COVID-19, leading to problems with their cargo deliveries. That's leading to major problems for the restaurant industry, which is, of course, reliant almost in its entirety on incoming deliveries. There's also concerns about how the business community is going to be affected by a wide range of new social distancing measures that will be introduced from tomorrow. Those include, as you mentioned, a ban on gatherings of any more than now only 2 people, no private gatherings at home, restaurants continue to be closed, everything from beauty parlours to gyms to hair salons also being closed. There have been long queues of people trying to get a haircut for what they think might be the last time in about a month. There's also concerns about the impact of schools being closed for months and how that's going to impact the education industry, because of course many of these schools rely on those fees being paid by parents who are still enrolling children in those schools. So a whole raft of concerns the government's trying to deal with. Its main solution so far has been to issue huge $1 million subsidies across the entire business sector to try and basically bail Hong Kong out. But everybody knows that can't last forever, which is why some health experts are pressuring the government to try to find a more sustainable long-term policy that doesn't rely only on trying to wipe out COVID entirely from the community.
And how efficient would you say these subsidies are in the meantime to deal with the crisis?
Well, there's certainly been a lot of them, and they have covered a very wide range of society. It's not just big businesses that are receiving those, it's being filtered down even to the pockets of the unemployed and small 2 or 3 person cafes. They're all being allowed to take advantage of these subsidies. But if you talk to any business owner at any level of this business development sector, everybody is saying the same thing, which is this might be a short-term fix, but because of the fact that these types of social distancing measures are rolling on week after week after week, nobody is optimistic about the mid to long-term future of their business, particularly in sectors such as the restaurant industry that have been repeatedly hit by these types of sanctions over the last 2 years. The fact that they're now no longer able to offer dine-in service in the evening for probably the 3rd or 4th time in the last 2 years, really playing havoc with the way they're trying to plan their own business strategy.
Right. Richard, thank you so much for joining us with all your inputs on this. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.